Yo, what's good, guys? It's Turtle from Hardcore Cards on Instagram with yet again another Pendulum takeover on Kybelord's YouTube channel. As you can see, it is SOLFACHORDs, and I've got to be honest, this one has been a challenge. It's been very tricky to actually get them not only consistent but also competitive. But I've combined them with another Pendulum archetype. It's not pure, in my opinion, just does not work out, unfortunately. So I've combined it with some other Pendulum archetypes, and it's been very good. And also very fun. I've been very surprised by how much I've enjoyed playing these. And yeah, they're actually a lot better than I was expecting. And very good in the grind game as well. Like, that was a real shocker for me. But as you can see, we do aim to go into Artifact, Electromite, Dagda. That is the new way to play Pendulums. That is the Turbo Dagda nowadays. Going to get the Scythe, pop the Scythe with a Tornado Dragon, and carry on from there. So yeah, that is the new way to play Pendulums in my opinion. And this deck accommodates that. So without further ado, we will get cracking with the monsters.
Stardust, Black Rose, No Hope, Life Low. Alright, I'm set, I got my deck. I'm about to head to my homie crib next. I got a brand new combo with some tricks. I'm about to burn them for 8,000 quick. Got it on standby so you can't draw. Main phase ain't shit, go to your school phase, that mean you lost.
So kicking us off for the monsters, we have of course the SOLFACHORDs themselves, which is the main bulk of the deck profile as well. So we have the free Cutea. Cutea is your main rotor of the deck. On normal or special summon, you can search out a SOLFACHORD monster from deck to hand. Scale 8, very good scale for Pendulums. That's what we like to see. It is a shame Cutea is a scale level 1. Makes it tricky to Pendulum summon her out, because most of the time your scales are between like 1 and 8, something like that. There is ways of having a scale 0 in your scale. And not only that, we have another card in the deck which has very good synergy with Cutea in particular. And the one thing you have got to remember with SOLFACHORDs is they all have nice little neat interactions which either offer protection or little attack boosts, little negates. They all have their own little things. And honestly, if you miss them, that can be a difference between winning and losing. So definitely make sure you read those cards. Make sure you get to know them 100%. And honestly, you'll catch a lot of people out just by knowing these little nice interactions. But Cutea is your main sort of normal summon as such. You want a normal summoner out, get your search off and carry on your plays. Then we do of course also play free Angela, which in my opinion is actually the best SOLFACHORD there is. So Angela's a level 6, which isn't perfect, but it's still pretty good anyway. Like, level 6s are easy to Pendulum summon out. She is also a scale 3, so again a really nice low scale level. And her effect is actually crazy. You contribute a SOLFACHORD monster on field, so either a self or another one, and special summon from the deck a SOLFACHORD monster with a scale 2 higher or 2 lower than the tributed SOLFACHORD monster. So if you tributed Angela, you can go into Fansair, which we do play 2 of, or Kulia, which we play 1 of, because Kulia is level 1, or scale 1, sorry, and Fansair is a scale 5. So yeah, you have various options there, and honestly, very good card. Angela is actually honestly so good. So that will bring us on to Fansair. Fansair is a level 4, so already perfect for Pendulums in my opinion. Level 4 is just ideal. And on normal or special summon, you can send a SOLFACHORD monster from your deck to your extra deck. So yeah, very handy. And then Kulia is your main boss monster. Kulia is a shame she's a level 8, because it does make it a bit tricky to Pendulum summon her out, although there is a way we can Pendulum summon her out. But she is a scale 1, so even if you put her in the scale, there is a way to special summon her from the scale onto the field. And Kulia is very good very good boss monster for the deck, and good at going first or second. She's a real tough cookie to deal with, that's for sure. Actually, I'll leave them there. I'll just go over the top. Then we come to a few more one-offs. So we've got the 1 Gracier, the 1 Butea, and the 1 Dremia. So Gracier and Butea, I am toying with dropping Butea and go for a second Gracier. Gracier on normal or special summon can search you out the SOLFACHORD spells and traps, which we only run 4 of. So, and one of the spells we ideally want to open it. If Gracier was a level 4, she'd be straight away as a free of, no doubt about it. But she's a level 5, so it makes it a bit tricky. So because we're trying to aim to go to Dagda, You don't really want to special summon a monster and then tribute over it as your normal summon to get Grace Seer out. And she's also a scale 4, so it's like a double kick in the balls being a level 5 and a scale 4. It's not really the ideal pendulum sort of philosophy. Like pendulums like being level 4s, like being levels 1 or scale 1s, scale 8s, that kind of thing. So yeah, you do have to work around, play around a bit with SOLFACHORDs to sort of make them interact with each other. And like I said, I was tempted to drop Butea. Butea is a level 7. We do run the Odd Eyes package, so Butea is there for that. It's easy access to Odd Eyes Absolute Dragon. She's scale 2, which honestly isn't terrible. And her effects are actually, a monster effect is actually really good. But the problem is with pendulums, you do not want to see in your opening hand your one of high level pendulum monsters. It's just such a shame. If you open up your one ofs Coolia, your Butea, your Grey Seer, it's just so tricky to play out with them. So yeah, you do not really want to see any of your one ofs in your opening hand. You kind of want to search them with Cutea. Dremia is actually low-key pretty good. Like if you've got a SOLFACHORD in your pendulum scale, you can special summon her out. So it's just a nice extended, another way to get to Dagda. And if Electromite did come back, it is certainly an option for pendulums to sort of run a SOLFACHORD engine as such, with Dremia and like Cutea to search Dremia, for example. But that is it for the SOLFACHORD monsters. So next we will come on to the other bit of the deck profile, which is, of course, if you hadn't guessed it already, Pendulum Magicians. I mean, anyone who's watched my deck profiles before know how much I love Pendulum Magicians, and they just go so well in literally any pendulum archetype. They are just so good. They're level 4s, scales 8s or 1s, and they just do so much. I mean, Harmonizing is just so good. Pendulum summon her out from hand, and then you special summon one of your magicians from the deck. So good. Purple Poison is obviously a low scale, and Double Iris and Celestial high scales. Double Iris, we don't play any of the Pendulum Graph stuff, but Double Iris can still be searched with Dual Lance, which is why we run it. Celestial's really good. Like there's a lot of times, a lot of the effects come up and you end up forgetting it, but if you know what the effects do, Celestial is so good, and it's really good for gathering card advantage for next turn as well. And Time Gazer is in there because we do play, of course, the Chronograph Sorcerer at 3, low-key Pendulum Magician at heart, Chronograph Sorcerer, and also Time Gazer and Harmonizing makes a level 7 Synchro, which is the Odd Eyes Meteor Burst. So Odd Eyes Meteor Burst can come out, special summon a monster from your scale onto the field. So yeah, very handy. And yeah, I just love the Pendulum Magicians. Absolutely love them. Then, of course, the one Joker. I mean, Joker's back at 1. Who knows? It may go to 2. It may go to 3 in the future. Who knows? But as a one of, very good. Very happy to see Joker back. Really good Pendulum normal summon there. Then we do, of course, run the free Odd Eyes Revolution Dragon and the free Supreme King Darkworm with the one donut. So Pendulum Call Darkworm is still the god combo. It's such a good play starter. It's just too good to pass up. And even if your Pendulum Call gets ashed, you've still got the value from Darkworm Engrave. It's just so good. And with Odd Eyes Revolution Dragon, be able to search Darkworm out from the deck, it's more consistent than ever before. And the donut happens to be a level 7, which helps with the Odd Eyes Absolute plays, and a scale 0 as well. So you can actually put it in the scale and pendulum summon out Cutea, for example. Then we come to a one of which I'd never thought I'd play in a pendulum list, and that is Pendulum Lucho. So Pendulum Lucho, it's a level 1. It's a scale 0. The scale effect is actually pretty relevant. If you can when she's activated, you can send one of your pendulum monsters from the banish pile or the graveyard to the extra deck. So it's nice recursion there. But its monster effect is where it's at, which has very good synergy with Cutea and the SOLFACHORD Elegance spell. So SOLFACHORD Elegance, you can send a SOLFACHORD from your hand to the extra deck to set your scales. set 2 scales. We'll get to it a bit more detail later on, but that is the idea of it. So if you send a Cutea to the extra deck, normal summon Pendulum Lucho, you can then special summon that Cutea because it's a level 1 Pendulum monster from the extra deck to the field, and not only have you got then an instant link 2, which will obviously be Dagda, but you also then get the search effect off Cutea, which is just so good. And as an added bonus, Pendulum Lucho can also be searched with Jaws Alliance. So yeah, Pendulum Lucho, don't sleep on it. It's a very good one-off. Never thought I'd say that, but it works very well in the deck. And for the last of the monsters in the main deck, it is of course Artifact Scythe. Like I said, your main aim, get into Dagda, setting the Scythe, popping the Scythe for Tornado Dragon, and hopefully lock out your opponent, which most matchups is pretty good. Not all of them, but in certainly a lot of them, it will be enough to stop them. But that is it for the monsters, so we will get on to the spells. So starting us off for the spells, there's not actually that many. It's a very heavy monster count, that's for sure. But we do begin with the free SOLFACHORD Elegance. I mean, I've got to be honest, I didn't really read the SOLFACHORD monsters sort of before they come out. It wasn't until they come out then I started reading them, and SOLFACHORD Elegance is actually insane. So it's got 3 different effects. You can only activate 1 effect per turn. First one, you can literally just set a SOLFACHORD from deck to the Pendulum scale. I mean, that's already really good. Second effect, like I said, if you have a SOLFACHORD in hand, you can send it to the extra deck and set both your scales. So it's got to be an odd and an even, I believe. So I would normally set like a Cutea on one, and then perhaps either a Culia in the other one, or an Angela, for example, because that's also an odd and an even. So yeah, you have various options there. It's so good. I can't believe how good that spell is. And because we do run Meteor Burst, if we do set, say, the Culia in the scale or the Angela, summon out Meteor Burst, you can special summon that from the Pendulum scale to the field. So yeah, very good. And then its third effect is you can add the cards 1 odd, 1 even from your Pendulum scales to the extra deck to draw 2 cards. So yeah, it just does everything. It's so good. And then for the one-off, we do of course play the one-off field spell, Harmonia. Harmonia is a bit of a funny one. Like, you do not want to see it in your opening hand, but at the same time you need it in there because it is so good in the grind game. I mean, you can do so much with it. You can add a SOLFACHORD monster from your extra deck to your hand, so you don't have to rely on link arrows. You can pop a card on field if you control 3 SOLFACHORDs with either even or odd Pendulum scales. And the third effect is you can bump your SOLFACHORD Pendulum scales up by 1. So if you do have a Cutea in your scale, you can use its effect to bump Cutea up to a scale 9, which does mean you can then Pendulum summon out Culia, because Culia is a level 8. So yeah, it's very good, but you do not want to see it in your own hand. And that, again, that's another reason why we only play the 1 Grey Seer, because ideally you do want to open the Elegance, and then search out a Grey Seer to then search the field spell. So that's usually the that's the plan, that's the game plan. So yeah. But honestly, Elegance, I couldn't believe how good that card was. It is actually insane. Then for the last of the spells, like I said, there's not that many. We do run 3 Jaws Alliance and the 2 Pendulum Call. Jaws Alliance, I mean, it's just the full package, isn't it? It just does everything. It can search your Pendulum Calls, obviously. It can search your Double Iris. It can search your Pendulum Lucho. Yeah, so good. Pendulum Call, I was planning at 3, and then Joker came back to 1, so I dropped one of the Pendulum Calls for Joker, and it's been working all right. Okay, it does makes the Pendulum Call Darkworm play just a tiny bit less consistent, but as you saw, we don't actually run that many Pendulum Magicians, so drawing into a Pendulum Call late game can be a bit dead, unfortunately. So yeah, but Jaws Alliance, however, is very good, and we still do run the 3 of them, so we still have a pretty good chance of seeing Pendulum Call in our opening hand. But that is it for the spells though, guys, so bear with me and we will get up to the final bit of the deck profile, which is of course the extra deck. So for the extra deck, starting us off with the links, we of course have Artifact Electromite Dagda, Selene, Queen of the Masked Magicians, Apollosa, Bow of the Goddess, Access Code Talker, Nightmare Unicorn, and Decode Talker. So, like I said throughout the video, Dagda's the one you want to turbo into. It's your new Electromite. It's the one you want to aim for. Set the scythe and carry on your plays from there. Selene is just so good. Any deck would play Spellcasters, it's just so good. So you can either use it for an easy Appaloosa or an easy Access Code Talker, which is what we usually would go to, because Access Code Talker just sees out games, it just clears up and just OTKs. Appaloosa, you usually want to try and end on an Appaloosa on your end board, but if you don't, you can always go into a Decode Talker. So sometimes you'll feel a bit strange, you can't quite make the Appaloosa, but you still need to link away the Odd Eyes Absolute Dragon, which is where Decode Talker comes in, and technically it is still a negate. So I would normally special summon out the Scythe once I pop it with Tornado Dragon underneath a Decode Talker. Decode gets a little attack boost, and it does make its effect kind of live as well, and it is technically still a negate. And then Nightmare Unicorn is just a nice little bit of removal there. I don't go into Unicorn that much, but when I do, it's needed. So yeah, I do kind of like to keep Unicorn in there, even though it probably is the one I least use. Then for the XEs, we've got Dweller, Baguska, Tornado Dragon, Supreme King Dark Rebellion, and of course Zeus. So Dweller, it's instant win against any graveyard focus deck. So yeah, you have to play Dweller if you can run it. Baguska, if you need to slow the game up a bit, Baguska does that very well. So honestly, sometimes a defense position Baguska can just stall out your opponent just enough for you to gather that little bit of extra advantage to then go into the OTK. And then that's where Zeus comes in as well, because on my standby phase, obviously I'll detach a material from Baguska, turn it to attack mode, attack with Baguska. Baguska's still got another material attached to it, so you can then overlay into a Zeus. And because of the card advantage and because of the grind game this deck does have, it doesn't matter if you send all your scales to the grave, because most of the time you've got them still in your hand. So yeah, very good. Tornado, obviously that's the one you are aim for on your end board to pop the Scythe on opponent's turn, of course. Dark Rebellion, it gets so many OTKs. It's so good. It gets over Dragoon as well. Very handy. Honestly, a lot of people don't even read Dark Rebellion, and then they're surprised when I say, yep, attack for 5,000, you know. So yeah, Dark Rebellion, very good card. Yeah, I love Dark Rebellion. And then of course Zeus. Obviously Zeus and Access Code are both not really budget friendly. So for Access Code, you can replace for like Boral Sword Dragon, so I say. And then Zeus, you've got Exciton Knight. It's not perfect, but it's another rank 4 XC, which sort of clears the boards as such. So yeah, you have got them options. Then we have Borload Savage Dragon. I mean, we run the Pendulum Magicians, so, you know, Harmonizing and another one. Easy single 8, so Borload Savage. And of course, we do normally have quite a lot of links in the grave for that as well. Then for the final bit, we do of course have the Odd Eyes package. So we've got the Meteor Burst Dragon, the Vortex, and the Absolute. So, like I said, you want to try and synchro into Meteor Burst with Harmonizing and Time Gazer. Meteor Burst uses effect to special summon one of your scales, so you can special summon, say, Angela, Kulia, Butea even, you know. Then you'd use the two level 7s, which hopefully you'd have, so Meteor Burst being one of them. And then you got like the Gate possibly, or even Butea as a level 7 as well to go into Absolute. Then link Absolute away to then special summon a Vortex, which makes your ideal end board either Appaloosa or Decode depending. Vortex Dragon, Tornado Dragon, set Scythe for opponents on your opponent's turn, and sometimes you'll also end with Kulia as well. So yeah, not a bad end board. It's honestly, I've found it does the job pretty nicely. And if any of you guys are interested, I will have a combo video up on the Hardcore Cards Instagram page very soon. As soon as this deck profile is live, definitely follow the Hardcore Cards on Instagram and stay tuned, because there will be a combo video to follow. So definitely check out that when it drops. But that is it for my deck profile. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. Like I said, this one has taken me a bit longer to do because the SOLFACHORDs have been taken a lot longer to gel with another archetype, for example. So yeah, it's taken me a bit longer, but I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know your thoughts about this in the comments below. And until the next Pendulum takeover on Carblord's YouTube channel, we will see you again